it just took me a long time to start selling it. So when I initially started, I mean, my pictures were awful. I took them on my phone and I had no idea what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me like 8 months for me to sell more than 10 in one day, I think.
Well, hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Rock Your Brand podcast. I'm your host, Scott Voelker, a serial entrepreneur on a mission to help you. This show is designed to teach you, to inspire you, to motivate you to take massive action and build a future-proof business. So, whether you're just starting out or taking your existing business to the next level, this is your home. Now, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's rock your brand. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Rock Your Brand podcast. This is episode 924, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. Normally, I have our Wednesday interviews where I interview a special guest. Well, today we still are going to do somewhat of an interview, but it's more or less going to be a coaching call. I wanted to mix this up a little bit. A lot of people love to listen in on a conversation that I generally have in private or for our Brand Creators Academy, our hot seats that we do there. And so what I decided to do here is actually record our conversation that I had with Akbar. And he is in an interesting situation because he started his brand, but really, well, let me back up. He started selling products on Amazon, which a lot of people have done. I've done it myself in the past. And didn't really think about the brand build until after he found out that he probably should because, well, that product is now, it's a lot more competitive and he's running out of ways to try to sell it on just Amazon. And he's limited on what he can do to really bring awareness to that, that product. So we got on a call and we talked about if it's even worth him continuing to build this out or even start building this thing out to where he can start getting traffic, where he can start monetizing in other ways. And if he's really willing to put in the work and the time, because it is in a competitive space. But here's the interesting thing. We went through and we talked about his current situation. We talked about a different angle that he could possibly use in a variety of different ways. We talked about how to really understand who you are trying to attract. We talked about how to create content that'll bring in those people. And then also a very cool way that he can add somewhat of a digital element without it being a digital product, but somewhat of a digital element that will get people to want to buy through him in order to get this benefit of his help and support in the future. So I'm going to leave it at that. But let me just say that anytime that I do these, I have a blast, by the way, doing these. If you're interested in applying to be on the podcast and to have one of these hot seat sessions recorded for the podcast, just email me, scott@brandcreators.com. Let me know your current situation. And who knows, maybe we'll do a coaching call together and I will air it here on the podcast. All right. I may do a couple more here in the future, in the near future. I've got a few more that I'm thinking about doing, but I don't want to say 100% yes, just now. Okay, or just at this moment. So I want you guys to sit back though and just take this in and think about your own situation, because if you are in a market that is competitive, this will help you. Because we have to think about different angles. We have to think about a different approach. And a lot of times people overthink of what they need to do, and really simplifying is a lot of times the answer, which it is in this case. The other thing I wanted to say here real quick is we are heading into the beginning of the year. Okay. January 1st, 2021 is coming, and it's coming quick. If you want help building your brand in 2021, then I would really encourage you to head on over to brandcreatorsacademy.com. Go there, check it out, see if you would like to be a part of our private community and all of our training that we offer inside of the academy. And if you would like to join us, all you need to do is fill out a very, very short application to let us know if you're a good fit for the group, but also if you are at the right stage of your business. All right. So if you're interested, brandcreatorsacademy.com. And well, with that all being said, let's get to it. Let's listen in on this conversation, this coaching call that I did with Akbar. Akbar, thank you so much, man, for coming on and, well, opening yourself up so we can go ahead and discuss your business and where you're headed. So man, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, no problem. This is gonna be fun because I always like digging in, and I like to hear a little bit more of the backstory, kind of where you're headed. And I know you and I have kind of been talking a little bit through chat,
Yeah,
but I want to hear it now, like a little bit more of the backstory of like how you got to where you are right now. And you're kind of at a crossroad right now, really. You're like, do I
yeah,
continue with this product? Do I build that out into a brand? Can it be a brand? Like all of these questions. So let's kind of jam a little bit here, and people will be listening because we're going to record this, but it's just really you and I having this conversation. So tell me what's
yeah.
on your mind, man.
So, I mean, where I initially started was about 2 years ago. I went abroad, and one of my friends, he had these swimming trunks on, and I really liked them. And he said that they didn't have a netting in them. And for anybody who's worn netted shorts, swimming trunks,
Mm-hmm.
they know when they dry, it can cause a lot of irritation on the thigh area. So
Mm-hmm.
when I got back, I was thinking, oh, I've never heard of this. No one's ever even sold these in the UK. Let me look into it and see if I can just start selling them.
Sure.
I'd never done anything before except for when I was in university and I was just selling shoes just to make some extra pocket money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got back and inevitably I ended up on Alibaba and I couldn't really find what I was looking for because little did I know that it didn't exist.
Mm.
But my friend who thought they were actually netless swimming shorts, they were actually just quick dry shorts. So I ended up looking around, couldn't find that. And then I was like, well, I'm here now. Let's just see if I can find anything else. Let's see if I can make something of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing led to another. And I ended up just thinking, okay, I like the sporting goods idea. So I looked around on Amazon and eBay and I saw some people and they were selling stuff and it looked like they were doing quite well. So I thought, I think I could do this. And it just seemed like I don't want to throw shade on anybody's, business or brand or whatever. I just felt like I don't know, it felt like there wasn't there was something missing in it. I just felt like they
Okay.
weren't offering as much as they could to the
Mm-hmm.
customer for what they were paying. And I thought, well, if I was going to do this, if I was going to put my name on something, I would really enjoy making the best of something. So, I did that. I created a product, and from there, it took me a long time. I was just selling on Amazon initially. I bought 300 units of it.
Okay.
That was of one product, and I bought a few hundred units of two other products,
Okay.
which were actually they came and they were just awful, so I couldn't even sell them. I
Oh
probably
wow.
couldn't even give them away, so I lost a lot of money on that. But the
Wow.
product that I initially was interested in and was hoping would be my flagship product, that was okay, and that got good reviews. Not many, but
Mm-hmm.
it got good reviews. It just took me a long time to start selling it. So when I initially started, I mean, my pictures were awful. I took them on my phone and I had no idea what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me like 8 months for me to sell more than 10 in one day, I think.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
eventually, yeah, so my conversion rate, I was just spending so much money on advertising, and my
Mm.
conversion rate was, one sale out of every 45 views
Oh
of
wow.
my
Okay.
sponsored post.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got a bit better, I took a few pictures, edited them, got them edited, came out with a proper design layout for everything, and properly presenting my product. Then the conversion went to about one out of every four views, which was good. I
Yeah.
just ran out of stock. So
Okay.
what happened was by the new year of this year, I'd run out of stock, and I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna smash this year, just as everybody thought at the start of this year. And
Sure.
then COVID happened, and it
Mm.
just slowed things down. And eventually, I mean, because the gyms are closed over here and everything, the fitness industry is taking a big hit. So
Mm.
now I'm not too sure what I want to do. Um,
So let me just pause you right there. So okay, so
sure.
you created a product or some products that were serving a market, a
Yeah.
niche, but do we know exactly the person, the avatar, as we've kind of all been kind of keyed in on, as far as like who you're, or was it just like people looking for X?
So to be honest, it was just initially when I started, it was just I just wanted to make money.
Of
So it
course.
was anybody who wanted to, anybody who wanted to use the product.
Mhm.
The brand was not created for, uh, I'll be honest, a mission in mind. It wasn't here to,
Right.
solve this problem. It was to solve my own needs, which was I needed money, and I thought this would be the best way.
Okay.
But what happened is I wasn't really living the brand itself. So I wasn't into my fitness. I didn't care too much,
Okay.
and in fact, I was actually not in great shape.
Mhm.
And what happened, I've been the butt of fat jokes and ugly jokes for a long time in my adult
Oh, wow.
life, and it was nobody ever likes that and stuff. So
Mhm.
I decided to go on my own fitness journey last year, and yeah, it was transforming. When I would see people and they would come up to me and they'd not seen me for so long, and they would
Mm.
just compliment me. They would tell me, "Oh, you look so good," and you've lost a lot of weight, or you look so much different. You should have done this before. And I thought, yeah, I felt very different. I felt so much. I felt like a different person.
Mm.
Just confidence skyrocketed, and then
I bet.
that was where I wanted to take the brand. It was just for I wanted to sell that feeling to people
Mm.
who had probably never experienced it. It was life changing
So
for me.
so when you had that revelation, really, right? Like you
Yeah,
personally had it, right? You started feeling good about yourself and stuff, but yet you have this side of your business, which was a product business, really was just like a product that someone was looking for, and you would have that available. Nothing wrong with
yeah,
that. But now, since you've had this revelation of your own and this, really this transformation, and then you get like people recognizing it and seeing how you feel now this turns into something that could be more than just a product, because now it's more or less like you said, it's your story, your mission, and now you want to go on a quest to help more people. Does that sound accurate?
yeah. So a lot of what I wanted to do now, if I was to build a website, would just not be about my product or whatever I'm selling. It would be the mental hurdles and obstacles that people have to overcome to get that feeling. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to offer the resources and the tools for somebody to get to the same result I did, which was an amazing feeling. And I didn't just notice a difference in my confidence, I noticed a difference in everything.
Mm,
My income increased because I was just so much more energetic. My relationships were a lot better with people because I didn't have this, I don't know, so I don't know, I just didn't feel crap about myself.
mm. No,
And it was,
it's huge.
yeah, it was massive because it got to a stage where I hated looking in the mirror. So, it's difficult to live with yourself and you feel so bad about yourself.
Mm,
And now I'm at that stage where I don't just want to offer the product, but I'm also struggling to understand how I can sell something or offer something which is actually intangible,
mm,
because it does take a lot of hard work. So I want to focus a lot on the mental aspects of getting to that stage where you can actually just overcome it and get to that point. Because from that point onwards, it's a different life. You really do live a different life. Like I would never look back and think, "Oh, I wish I never did it." I'm so grateful that I did it. For me, what I did was, I did my transformation in 75 days, and
oh,
it was
wow.
a very, very tough time because it involved, I was drinking a gallon of water a day. I was working out twice a day. One of them was outside. Each workout was 45 minutes. It was very difficult, but I overcame it, and yeah, it was just unbelievable. So now I'm at that stage where I want to offer that.
So, okay, so then again, this call here for you and I is to kind of like brainstorm and also see and get clarity on like what is your next move, like where are you going to take, your brand? Do you develop a brand new? Do you build off the current momentum that you have? So, I guess my question to you would be, what questions do you have for me?
Oh yeah.
Where do you want to start?
Well, the actual product I sold, it was a good product, and it was one that I did use for my own transformation. So I find that it is a product I would like to continue selling.
Okay.
It's a very niche product within the fitness industry.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure. I mean, I've checked it myself on from the suggestions that you always give, Uber suggest and
Mhm.
answer the public. and it gets traction, but it doesn't get much. A lot of the traction it does get is on YouTube. It gets a lot of traction on YouTube, a lot of searches on there. But in terms of blogging and stuff like that, it doesn't actually get that much. So
But you're looking at, I'm sorry, you're looking at though the product itself. So if we're saying
Yeah.
it's a kettlebell, we're just going to say kettlebell. What kind of searches does a kettlebell get? Is that kind of what you're doing there when you're looking at your product and how many searches it's getting?
Yeah. So initially I was thinking, you know, would I be able to create something where I was just to focus on this product alone? And in that sense, I would be eliminating a lot of the things that I really did want to talk about in the other aspects of fitness, just, you know, diet, your mental well-being, and all the other stuff as well.
Sure.
That was one angle I was potentially approaching it from. The other angle is I want to talk about fitness and I want to talk about the diet and everything that comes with it, but it's such a vast market. And there's so much to talk about. I feel sort of confused as to really how to tackle it, and what I should even be focusing on, because it's such a big market.
You're 100% right. I think there's a couple of things that you would be able to do. And so just kind of talking through it and kind of brainstorming. So first off, and a lot of people don't realize this, but you know, your story, right? Your transformation is something unique to you and other people that you are competing against, right? So always know that people they'll be drawn to real. And if you just documented your story or even went back and you already did the journey, but you're continuing on that journey, but you could go back and almost like document what you did during those times. And that could be content in itself that people could find later that would want to know more about you, but also that could come in at a certain stage where they're just getting started in something. The one thing that I would say is if you're going into a fitness niche, there has to be some angle that you're coming in and that you are going to be saying, like, I'm just using different diets, right? Like keto, bulletproof, like all of these different diets, right? Plant-based, like all of these different ones. So there's that side of it that we could use whatever that was, you know, drinking a gallon of water a day. Is that part of some type of protocol? And so you almost need to find out what that angle is that you're going to be, like you're saying, like, I did this and this is why it worked, but I also modified this. A perfect example is like Beachbody, right? Beachbody has tons of programs, Tony Horton, P90X, Shaun T, Insanity, all of those, right? If you did one of their programs, which they have a lot of coaches, right? You could become a coach for Beachbody. You have a lot of coaches that are promoting their programs, but everyone has a unique story. So someone might be drawn to you, but you're going to capitalize on Beachbody fitness, right? Or a specific 21-day fix or any of these other diet plans. Or if I was to say, I lost weight using Bulletproof, I'm going to go ahead and get searches from Bulletproof, and I'm going to only focus on that area of the market. I might also be like, trying to tap into a certain age or whether it's male or female. So it might be like, I don't believe you're 40 years of age. So, you know what I mean? Like, so you wouldn't be able to maybe use that, but like for me, I could say something how to lose weight over 40 while doing Insanity, or can you do Insanity if you're over 40? Question, right? That brings people in. Now they're going to see me. Now I can explain my story, and then they get brought in. Then we can start talking about what tools you need in order to get that done. What type of food prep do you need for this type of plan? See, we didn't go out there and just say, I'm going to go after the lose weight market. I'm going after a specific type of market, whether it's the age, right? The gender, or or we can actually bolt those on to then a program or some type of diet, right? And then all of our content starts going around that. Maybe you're gluten-free, and then you're going to do all stuff around gluten-free. And that's part of, what we are doing to get attention that draw people in that are for that specific thing. So that's how you would differentiate yourself, but that's where you would go like really, really deep in that stuff. And that's what I would focus on. So all of those questions, like I said, that question would be something that I might be asking. Can you do Insanity if you're over 40? right?
Yeah.
That would be a question. And then all of a sudden I'm going to be like, okay, the next thing is like, what kind of foods do you eat while doing Insanity? Right?
Yeah.
What is the weekly schedule for Insanity? Right? All of these things are pieces of content that people are asking questions that bring them over to you.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the focus that a lot of people don't want to do because it takes time. It takes time to put the content together. It takes time for it to get indexed and brought into search. But your product could be something that you mention now when someone comes to your site, right? So
Yeah.
it's not, all your content should not be about a product. It should be about what is trying to be achieved.
Yeah.
And questions and concerns and, anything that they're going through, that's where you want to start going down. And once you get clear on that, then you're just going to be like focusing on that one area. The cool thing is that a lot of people that just sell like one product, like yourself or a few products, they miss out on all of the other products that they don't have to source. They can just recommend those products and be an affiliate for, and now boom, they get those products, right? Or once you get enough traffic, we can turn on ads and all of a sudden we got another revenue stream coming in. And then who knows, maybe you're going to create your own, digital training program, or maybe you're going to have a mentorship program that people can go through 6 weeks at a time. And that's a digital item. I've seen people that actually do, if you want to sign up and put me as your coach for Beachbody and you go through Insanity, you can join a 6-week private group that I will help you, and you'll be around support, of people that are doing it as well. Right.
Oh, okay.
So, you know what I mean? Like, you can basically offer you or the community that you build as an asset that if they go through your link as a Beachbody coach, which by the way, I think you get 20 or 25% commission on those programs. And if they sign up for Shakeology, if they sign up for any of their supplement lines, you're going to get recurring revenue forever. Right.
Okay.
So there's ways that you can make the money versus it just being, I got to launch, the kettlebell, right?
Yeah.
And all of the different, weights off of the kettlebell. Cause now there's a 10 pound, a 15 pound, a 20 pound, a 25 pound, right? Then I got to have all of this inventory, all of that stuff. And that's where it becomes hard versus the opportunities of having the ability to offer more products, but lead in with useful content. And we didn't even talk about email list stuff. We can talk about that too. But those are my initial thoughts for you in this huge, massive market, and anyone else that's going after a big market.
Yeah.
Any questions on that?
No, that's great advice. So, I mean, in terms of just even the next step, let's say,
sure.
What would your approach be? Would it be to create your own website and then, start building content on that, or would it be to approach, Beachbody and say, can I write content for yours and also link it back to my website? Or, how would you approach that?
Okay. So the very first thing is I think anyone and everyone should have their own website.
Yeah.
Okay. That's your piece of real estate on the internet. It's yours. You own it. Okay. So that is a must for anyone. Now, again, we're going to go back a little bit. If this is going to be your business and your brand, and not just a one-off product or 3 products that you're going to sell on Amazon or eBay or Etsy, wherever, then we want a website. We absolutely want a website because we want to direct the traffic over to our website. So yes, would I, or even will they be willing to let you write on a site like Beachbody? Probably not. But if you got, maybe you were in their forums and you were able to link to certain things, you can maybe get a backlink, but that wouldn't be my play. My play would be, how do I create question-based content? Anyone listening right now, and you as well, questions are your easiest low-hanging fruit to get traffic quick. And I say quick, within 2 to 3 months, okay? Because you're going for the long tail. You're going for questions that people are asking, and when they search for it, you're going to be there, right? So I would say my first step for you would be like, number one, are you committed to this brand and your mission?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. We got that out of the way.
Yeah.
The second step is then, do you have your brand name that you're happy with, that you want to go moving forward?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you always have that doubt in your head.
But does it make sense to what we just talked about?
Yeah. I would like to think so. Yeah.
Okay. So perfect. Right. So that's done. Have you purchased the domain name yet?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I've trademarked
Got that out of the way.
the name and the logo and everything.
Logo too. Boom. Check.
Yeah.
Got that off the list. Right. So that's there. Now the only thing we don't have yet, and I'm assuming, is we don't have a website, a physical website yet.
So I've created it through the WordPress or something, and then
you do have WordPress.
I've got WordPress.
Okay. Well, you have WordPress. You have to have it on a host, then, don't you? Or are you using the free version?
It's on HostGator. So,
okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
No, you're good, man. You're good. You've got that component done. Yeah.
It's just that, and there's not a single.
That's okay.
No content or anything.
Yeah, I mean, your first step is to get your domain name, get it registered, get your hosting, get WordPress installed. Like that's like step 2 in that process. Once you do that, now we're ready. We've got the foundation somewhat built. Now we got to start building inside of that platform. So now obviously you want an about us page or about you, right? So you want that on your page so you can tell your story. And I would encourage you to definitely write your story, but I would get on video and I would explain the struggles and the reason why you decided to create this brand. Like let people know who you are and why you decided to do this. I think that's powerful. But again, a lot of people don't want to put themselves out there. That's totally fine. But you do definitely want to put something there that shows your face so people know who they are reading from or that are getting the information from. They don't want faceless, they want a face. And that goes for anybody. Like even if you don't want to have your face on it, find someone that can be the face. Like when someone's reading your email or someone's reading a blog post, they kind of want to see who the author is. You just do, right?
Yeah,
when you buy a book, right? So you already have a lot of the work done. So now it's just a matter of sitting down and going through and finding your first 10 posts that you're going to create. And I would encourage you to write 10 question-based posts, right? Now, if you don't have a clear vision on who you are going to target, that would be an exercise that we would do before we get to the content creation. So if it is like, okay, I did the Insanity program for 60 days. I'm going to talk about that program. So I'm going to start looking at keywords around the Beachbody program, Insanity, and Shaun T. And then I'm going to spend my question post time there. And then I'm going to make a list and I'm going to knock them out one at a time.
Okay.
And that's where we're starting. Now we can probably do a whole bunch more after that on questions, but then you might want to move into the next, I call them, there's three different buckets. There's a question, the how to, and then from there products. So then you might want to do a how to, okay? Or you might want to just skip to a product, 5 best kettlebells for Insanity or whatever, right? And so then you're just going to do a 5 best of post, right? Best kettlebell for fill in the blank. Okay. And so that's it. Like that's your time. And I would get on a posting schedule to do at least 1 a week. But if you do those 10 posts, I would post 5 of them like back to back. I'd get that, I'd get your site started and, obviously go through the optimization process using the plugin Yoast. But basically once you get through that, it's a pretty simple, straightforward process. And that's where I would spend my time right now. And then the other side of it is I would start thinking to myself, okay, if someone walked up to me and said, hey, Akbar, could you help me do what you did? And you're like, yeah, I can. And they're like, okay, cool. What's the first step? You need to ask yourself these questions as if you were helping and coaching one person. And I would write that out like detail. Like, this is what you need to do. This is how many times you're going to work out. This is what the workout looks like, right? You can pick from these different ones, whatever. And then you can map it out for them. That mapping out also could be part of that could be a lead magnet. Okay. We can start building the email list. Or it could be, again, different products that need to be discussed in content. But the biggest thing right now is getting the home base built, getting content published. Then we move into how do we attract the right person so we can build that email list. And then from there, how do we send those people over to our content that we're creating on our website? And how do we start building that relationship with them?
Okay.
And That's like the first like phase, right?
Yeah.
It's like get that first thing built. Once we do that, then we can move into, okay, is there a digital product that I create? Or if you're going to recommend a program that you did, maybe you're not going to create a digital product, but you're going to create a 6-week, little small group that's going to hold each other accountable. And that's your thing. And you can email your list about that. Hey, if you join, this program and you go through my link, yes, I'm an affiliate, but you don't have to pay anything extra. I will coach you personally for the next 6 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Right. There's nothing on your part other than you might have to show up maybe in a Facebook group, right? Or maybe you have to show up on one weekly call that you're going to field questions, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there for that, but to not overcomplicate it, it's like you already have a lot of the stuff done and kind of like checked off the boxes. You just need to now get that content started.
Yeah.
And share your story.
I found, a lot of the content, as you mentioned something before, was about recording yourself, which is fine. Maybe for my own website I would. But a lot of the content I've found, not just around the product itself, but even if I wanted to do a workout video, it was all video based. That's something I know a lot of people have this issue as well. I myself have the same issue, is how to just get around that fear of being on camera or,
what's the fear?
Right now
what's the fear though?
I'm not sure. I'm just not very, I'm not very comfortable with it, in all honesty.
It's normal though. A lot of people are. A lot of people are. You're not alone at all. I think the other thing you have to keep reminding yourself is that you're helping someone on the other end, right? Think about you as that person on the other end. And if you didn't open their eyes or help them or produce this piece of content, they never would have gotten started and you might have saved their life. So if you think about it in terms of that, you'll be like, you know what? I know I don't feel comfortable doing this, but I'm going to do this because I want to help that person. Right. So you can kind of play a little bit of a trick on yourself. It's true, but you almost have to, play a little bit of a trick on yourself. The other thing is you can shoot the video, and if you don't like it, you don't have to post it. Right.
Yeah.
True. So that's the thing, but I'm telling you, once you get yourself going, you start getting some feedback. People are going to, give you, praise or thank you. It's going to be exactly what happened to you when you lost the weight. And then you started getting these compliments and it felt really good. So it made you want to keep doing it. It's the same thing once you do a video and you get that, you're like, oh, wow, nothing really happened. No one came knocking on my door and said I was terrible. Right. It's like, it's not going to happen, but the fear of it can be paralyzing and it's real. And I'm not going to say it's not, because it can be. But I do think that could be a great thing for you to add. Now, I would not get held up there though. I wouldn't let that stop me. I think the writing side of it for you would be easier. It might be easier for you if you don't want to write, it might be easier for you just to list out bullet points and then you just kind of hit record on your phone and record yourself and then transcribe it and edit it later or have someone else edit it later.
Yeah.
So that stuff works really well too. But it is a very crowded market. But I think if you try to go after one of those angles, you're not in the entire market and you don't want to be. You want to be in a small, section that you're speaking exactly to those people.
Definitely. In terms of, there was one aspect I really wanted to, put focus into was just you said yourself of getting over that initial fear or that block that stops you from doing something. That was one thing I wanted to focus on for fitness as well. In terms of blog posts, do you think that would be a good idea just to talk about the mental attitude and
100%
all sorts, and also to relate it to, because I found like the biggest thing I actually noticed apart from the physical transformation was in terms of just every other thing was affected by me putting myself through that. So as I mentioned before, my income just it shot up because I was
Yeah.
just, I was just working. I became a workhorse and I had more energy. I thought I would have had less energy. I thought I would have been tired all the time, but I had so much energy.
Yeah.
And I've found that, for me, it seems that fitness is a shortened way of success in anything. It's like if you want to create a business, get into good shape because you're
Yep.
going to see what it takes. You're going to have to go past your bedtime. You're going to have to do things you don't want to do, and you should do it, and you don't want to do it, but you're going to have to do it. And just other things like that, putting your body into a very uncomfortable position. And I find that is the successful traits and creating a business or anything that you want to do is also very well shown in fitness as well. And you can see that result in 75 days, like I saw it.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, the whole thing is like, I mean, we all kind of know that, if we have more exercise in our life, we have less stress, it activates chemicals in our body. Like we know that, or we've heard about it.
yeah,
Maybe we've experienced it, maybe we haven't. But the one thing that I have found in anything, whether it's me teaching you how to set up your website and start getting traffic, you don't want to hear about mindset. You don't want to hear about me saying, if you just commit, Akbar, if you just commit right now to post at least one article a week answering those questions, and you post it consistently, right after you've done that research, you get that stuff set up, you build your email list, and you start communicating with them. If you do that for 6 months, you are going to see results. You're going to see traffic. You're going to start getting engagement from people, and you're going to start learning what the next move will be. All right. If you only commit to that. So we got to work on your mindset. And then immediately when I say it's your mindset and I got to make a commitment, you're like, but that's not what I want. I want the result. So we always need to lead with the result. And so it's kind of like give them what they want, teach them what they need. Right. So we have to lead them in. It's kind of like, we want to lead them in with the carrot cake, but then we want to give them the carrot, right? Like we know they want the sweet stuff. We'll give them a little taste, but then once we get them in, we're like, no, you got to eat the carrot in order to get the result, right? So we want to definitely make sure that we're aware of that. And I think as you start building that relationship with your email list, that also allows you to start talking about mindset. It also gets you to start digging a little bit deeper into their psychology. So it's kind of like, if you send them out what I call the naked email, it's kind of like, are you struggling to lose weight? ? Or what's your number one sticking point with losing weight ? And that's the email. And then inside it says, hey, I know it's hard. I would love to know, why have you not been successful on your weight loss journey? Let me know, because this will help me help you. That's it, right? That's the email. You're going to get all of these people. I feel like it's too busy. I feel like I'm afraid that I'm going to start it and not stop. I'm going to, the fear of this, and I've tried it, but this, and you start getting into all of this stuff. Now you start to build that relationship, because now you can answer what they're telling you are the real reasons why they want it. Why do you want to lose weight? For you, it was because I want to feel more confidence in myself. I want to look in the mirror and feel proud. Right. And that's something that you wouldn't necessarily search for, right? It's not like how to look in the mirror and feel better about myself, about my weight, right? Like you're not going to look for that.
Yeah.
You're going to look for the solution, how to lose weight. Right. But how do we get that attention, bring them in with what they're looking for, and then give them what they need to know? And that will help.
That's very well said. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the big thing. And I think once you start, the email list for you is critical too, because that's where the relationship's going to start. That's where you're going to start getting that information. So I would say as soon as you can, you want to start building that email list. And that email list, you just have to think about whatever that lead magnet is, right? And that, again, you have to look at like that whole overall map. What is the first thing that they are struggling with that you can help them with a small little win, right? To get their attention, give them a quick little result. And then from there, you have their attention. Now you can communicate with them and help serve them more. Like that's the whole thing. So that's something that we probably won't be able to answer on this call, but it's something that I want you thinking about.
Yeah, definitely.
you know?
Thank you. That was a great answer.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So moving forward, okay. Cause I mean, I don't want to give you too much to do, right? I want to give you enough to do, right? It's just like working out, right? It's like, I'm going to tell you, you got to work out at least 45 minutes a day. You got to eat, 1,300 calories. You can only have this for macros. You go through the whole list. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. I'm not going to do anything. Now I'm paralyzed. So same thing with this, right? When we're building something, we want to keep it simple. We want to keep it light, and we want to keep it where we can continually be building it and getting momentum. So I guess I'm going to, kind of bring it back to you now. So what is your thoughts now moving forward? And what are the things that you are going to do in the next, let's just say 4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah, so I did really enjoy uh, everything you mentioned about creating the email list, especially just to build that connection with the people who I'm speaking to. Also,
Sure.
the content ideas. Initially, my content ideas were quite limited. My spectrum was quite narrow, just because I was only thinking of one thing. But now that I
Right.
can see all the different angles that I can approach it from, I will definitely do that. I'm going to look into as well just how other people are doing it, just how other people are creating content, and see what applies to myself. Now that there's a broader range for me to choose from, I'll definitely want to look more into it as well. So a lot of it, I think there's still a bit of research that I need to do just to properly define who I actually want to have reading my content. I think I definitely need to clarify on that as well. Because before, as I mentioned, it was just whoever wanted to come and buy it and consume it could. I didn't really mind. And not that I'm not limiting anybody from reading it or
Sure.
but it's just, yeah, I think I had no direction or no avatar, as you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
as a person who I had in mind. So I need to create that. Definitely, I need to create that. Um, Also, social media. I know we've not touched on this,
Mm-hmm.
but the social media aspect. I mean, we spoke about YouTube and stuff like that, but Instagram. I think I had a page. I sort of gave up on it.
Mm-hmm.
I still have it there, and in fact, I am going to bring it back into life. So, I mean, that page was just connecting with other people who had actually uh, done quite well in the fitness industry, not just in terms of that they were pro bodybuilders or anything like that, but I found that they were bringing a lot of value to people through their own Instagram page. They were giving so many workouts, and I
Mm-hmm.
would just ask them simple questions. I would, 4 questions, or what got you into fitness, and just share a bit of their story. And that relates back to what you said earlier: is people are attracted to a story as well. So, I mean, I'm
100%.
wondering if I could perhaps do something where I have those people. I mean, what they would post on my Instagram page would just be a short few paragraphs on their overall experience with fitness. But I'll be able to include that into my email list and just send that out to people and say, oh, if you feel like you can't do this, then so and so was in the same position as you, and you know, this is their story. Just have a read. And it's not just to sort of get them to do anything; it's just for them to gain some benefit from that. Would you think that would be a good idea?
Yeah, I do. I think anytime that you're adding value, because then that might speak to that one person that's like, oh, I have this limiting belief, or I have this struggle because I'm a busy mom or I'm a busy dad, right? And I don't seem to have time for the workout. And then this one person said, I didn't have time for working out, but I decided to, put it into the very first thing that I do every single morning. And that's the one thing that I do for myself. And I've made that commitment. So you should make a commitment to yourself too. Like something like that. That's a
Yeah,
great little share, right? So I'm a fan of doing that. And then once you start getting your own people, right, that are doing this, then you can start sharing your own people in your own audience and spotlighting people, which I think is another great thing to do to kind of build up your community. One thing I'll say on just any social, I think everyone knows my thoughts on social. It's like, it just depends, right? Like Instagram is an evergreen. So that's why I'm not a huge fan on it when you haven't been doing the other stuff yet. So if I'm going to spend time to create a little, graphic that has a quote or has this or has that, I need to have those other things being done. because I know that Instagram thing is just going to amplify something else that I have potentially, but it's not going to be searched for, right?
Yeah.
So you have to think about when you're creating content, the content that you're creating, there's different forms of content. There's written content, there's video content, there's audio podcast content, and there's also different platforms that allow you to consume the content differently or find the content differently, right? So Google is search, YouTube is search, Pinterest is search. That's why I like those three. Instagram, amplifier. Facebook, amplifier. Okay. Facebook is, people aren't going there to search for something. They're going there and they're being interrupted is what they're doing, right? They are. It's like they're there to kind of get away from stuff and kind of entertain themselves. Look at their family photos or look at a funny video, right? That's what they're there to do. And then all of a sudden you come in and go, you want to lose 6 inches off your waist, blah, 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 right? It's disruptive. But if you had something that you already created as your evergreen asset, right? Your evergreen piece of content, then post it on Facebook and let people see it. And if they want to go see it, they can, but you didn't start there. So that's why I tell people I would never start and try to build a Facebook following or an Instagram following. That's, to me, that's, you have to feed that all the time. You got to feed it every day, right? We want to feed something like a blog or a website or a YouTube channel or Pinterest. We want to feed that on a regular basis because it's searchable. Okay. It's searchable today, 6 months, a year from now. You know, I actually just looked at some of my analytics before I got on here on one of the case study brands, which we're going to be revealing this second one inside of the Academy here, probably early January. And I was shocked. It's been getting about 1,000 page views a day. Which is amazing, right? But it didn't start there. It started with, 10, 40, right? And so really we've kind of backed off on content on that site. But again, it's evergreen content. Well, I just looked and I was kind of blown away. Our page views have almost doubled in the past 2 days. So instead of having 1,000, we've got like 2,100, right? Now, I don't know if that's going to stay, but I haven't done anything different, right? That's how it works. So would you rather put time and energy into a piece of content that could get picked up 3 months from now, 6 months from now? Or would you want to post something on Instagram? It's there for 24 hours and then it's gone.
No, of course, the former, definitely.
Right? Do you want to have to feed that every day? Oh, I got to go load more wood on the fire or the fire is going to go out. Or do I want to put something in that the fire can continually stay warm? And then eventually it might even take a spike and get hot.
Definitely.
Right? So I want you to think about that. I want anyone listening to think about that. Where are you spending your time? Where is the best use of your time? For me personally, it's building my own website, home base with my own content and being able to create these evergreen assets. And then once you get that kind of dialed in, then we can sprinkle in these other amplifiers, these things that can bring more attention to our content. But we always want to be thinking about that evergreen. Make sense?
Yeah, great sense. Great sense. Thank you.
So again, if you're not doing the content side yet, do the content thing. Don't worry about the Instagram yet, right?
Okay.
Let's not do that. Okay. If you get, like 5 people that like something, you're like, oh, cool. Right. Likes don't necessarily amount to money. You know what I mean? Like they just don't. Emails would be more inclined, in my opinion, eventually to turn into dollars. But ultimately we need attention. We need traffic. And if you're going to have, we only have 24 hours in a day. If we have time, we want to spend it on creating assets that can bring us traffic over and over and over again. Bottom line.
In terms of, if you don't mind me asking, in terms of content, some of the content that I find for the topics that I want to cover is there's not that much to talk about but it is a good question to answer. So in a circumstance where the question doesn't give that much of an answer, but it is sort of important, would you recommend that I just bulk a few questions together and write one big piece of content, or would you recommend that I just blast out a few small pieces of content?
Yeah, I think it needs to be specific to that question, but I would also say that there's probably more to write about that than you think. And it's because you don't have to just write about the question only, because that question is also related to other things, right? Okay. So when you're writing that, you might answer that question in a paragraph, and then you might elaborate a little bit on the reasons why it's that, but also what is that question helping with, right? And as you're doing that, you're going to also be bringing in other parts. So if we were talking about bass fishing and you're like how to catch bass in a pond, you could write that one question, or I got one. Can you catch bass in a pond on a silver lure? Right? That would be a long one. How are you going to write a long post, 1,000 words on a post on that? You would say, I don't know. The answer is either yes or no. And I might give a little bit of detail on it, but then you're going to say, well, you know what about, let me go ahead and hold on one second there. I had a notification coming in. If we start talking about, okay, so now we're talking about catching bass in a pond, I can elaborate on that. We can talk about different colors of lures that we would be wanting to try or test and why they work in certain conditions. And you have cloudy water and then this and that. But we led with, can you catch bass on a silver lure in a pond? Right? So there's a lot more that can be written, but a lot of people only think about the one part of the question. There's different parts of that question. If we're talking about diet, we can talk about, can you eat red meat doing insanity? And then you would say yes or no, or sometimes or whatever. And then you talk about that, but then you say, also, when you're doing insanity, you may want to just do plant-based. And here's how you could do that. And here's a post that talks about that and blah, 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 blah. So you just kind of go down the list and start bringing in those other questions. Another thing that you can do, which we do a lot, is let's say, for example, you find a keyword like that. Can you eat red meat while doing insanity? Okay. I type that into Ubersuggest, of course, and I'm going to get other suggestions. But what you're going to then do is go to Google, type that in as a search. It's going to say, basically it'll start giving you answers to that, but then it'll say other questions related to this question. And there's going to be 4 or 5 of those. Those 4 or 5 could be bullet points inside of your post. And then those are subtopics. Yeah. Because they're related. Right. Yeah. So no, I would not say bolt on a whole bunch of different, just random questions, because then our title is not as targeted as we want it to be. We want that thing to be exactly what they're searching for. So we have a better chance of ranking. And also when they show up, they're like, this is exactly what I was looking for. Right.
Yeah. Okay. That makes great sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, don't overcomplicate it. Like, it's literally that simple. It's like, go to Ubersuggest, start getting some ideas. Once you start kind of drilling into this one area, like I'm using Insanity, it might be P90X, it might be 21 Day Fix, it might be any of these programs or whatever angle. And then I would start putting in, can you eat red meat insanity? Or I might just type in insanity home workout. And then from there, I'm going to find other websites that are posting about that. And I'm going to look at their site and see what kind of content they're posting. And then I'm going to start getting ideas that, oh, people are concerned with food or prepping or gluten, or some people want to do insanity and they want to do it because, and they don't know what they can do because they're gluten free, or they're a vegan or whatever. Right.
Okay.
So we need to do that research there. But the one thing I want to come back to is, do not spend too much time researching. And the reason is because then you stay months in research phase. Yeah. Right? You can always pivot a little bit. You can always tweak things a little bit, go to a different angle. But as long as it's related to the main area of topics and really your mission and what your site helps people with, then you're going to be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Just, so, I mean, the one thing that when you mentioned, this is going back to another topic that we spoke of in terms of finding the person, because you just mentioned the word mission. So in terms of finding the person who I do want to attract to what I am offering, that's not something I've ever really asked or answered to myself. So do you have any advice on how to actually dive deeper into that topic or into that question?
I guess the question would be like, who do you first off think it would be? Right. And so for me personally, I think anyone that is your age, whether you're married or not, has kids, doesn't have kids, like I would start going down that path, because you're going to relate with someone that's like you more than anyone. Right. Yeah. So I would almost start there. And then it becomes where then people start coming in that are not 100% the same profile, but you're starting to see that people that are, that are interested in this are also coming in because of this. And then that can, a lot of people get hung up on, they have to know exactly who that person is. They need to name that person. They need to know what kind of clothes they wear, like the whole thing. It's too much. We don't need that much,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
It's like if you had a friend walk up to you and said, "Hey, Akbar, can you help me?" You're like, that's the guy you're going to help. So right now you're probably going to help a guy around your age within, maybe 8 to 10 years. Same type of like outcome on life. That's who you're going to serve. So I wouldn't go much further than that. Right. I wouldn't go much further than that.
Yeah. Okay. That makes it a lot easier, because in my head, I was thinking, oh my God, where am I going to go from there? Because
I think as you build your list too, you're going to understand who that is more so. It's kind of crazy. Like, I didn't realize that there are a lot of women that are part of my audience, which I didn't know that would be the case. I didn't set out and say, I am going to create an avatar for a woman and I'm going to speak specifically to a woman's needs, right? For building an online business. But I have a lot of women that come in and they just like the way that I deliver the content. They like that I'm a family guy. They just resonate with that. But if I excluded them in the beginning, I would have lost a lot of people that I'm helping, right?
That's very true.
So you don't want to necessarily put that up there, but it doesn't mean I have to call it out. You'll start to see with your emails, if you have a Facebook group, if someone joins one of your challenges for weight training or weight, loss or whatever, you'll start to see, and then you'll start to refine that. So people think they have to have it all figured out. You don't. You're not going to.
Okay.
Right?
So
you're not going to.
In terms of just even the example that you used just now, you never set out to have so many female followers.
Yeah.
But now that you do, in the case that happens, do you continue with the content that you've been creating which is the reason why they were attracted to your site, or do you start tailoring it more to them as well?
Yeah, I think it depends. For me personally, I'm not going to try to make something happen just to get traffic. I don't think you need to. I think, so for an example would be like, if I talk about myself as a father, going to all my son's little league games, right? Never missing a recital. A woman on the other side is like, well, that's not me, but that's who I want, like, in my life I want to give my husband that opportunity, right? I want my husband to be at all the games, right? So by just sharing that story, it gets the right person to resonate that is drawn in to that type of a lifestyle. So I think, yes, you can look at the content and go, oh, people are interested in this, and I should tell more stories about this. Yes. But I don't think that you should then go, oh, I'm getting more females that are this, so I should start just putting female or woman. We don't need to do that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But again, I think we might be trying to figure that out too much right now. I think for me, it's very simple for you. You're very early on, so it's like let's figure out what is the angle. So the angle would be like, okay, what is that diet program, or what is the protocol? What is the strategy? And then is there search traffic around that? And then from there, start doing the questions that are being asked around that. And that's where we start.
Yeah.
And then as we do that, we're going to continually kind of like start to discover more things. Because when you find where you're going to really find other content ideas in the beginning is when you start doing this research, and then you start looking at other websites that are publishing similar content. You're going to look at their history and look and see what they're publishing. And you're like, wow, that's a whole nother angle. Like, I didn't realize that. And then you can just kind of put it in your spreadsheet that's a topic or an area that I'm going to cover later, but now you know it, right? And that's how you can start to get into this, to this content that will never really run out. You can just kind of keep building on that, So sure. I think at this point though, and to wrap up this little call, is to really just, you got a lot of it already done. I think now it's just a matter of getting your hands dirty, getting in there and doing it. Right. So let's, map out those 10 posts, maybe spend a little bit of time on the research side of things, like what angle, and then just, whether it's 100% or not, just pick an angle, go with 10 question-based posts, get those things out the door, And then we can come back, readjust, and kind of look and see what things are going on. And then the other thing I'd be thinking of is like, okay, what could I put up as a lead magnet that I could attract the ideal, client or person that would be interested in, my help, and I'd be thinking about that. So it's like 10 question-based type posts. And then what would be a good lead magnet that would help someone get a little bit closer to their desired goal?
Yeah. Could that be in terms of the lead magnet? Could it be something just even as simple as the diet that I followed?
It could be the diet, or could be if it was the diet that you followed, but then you might want a checklist that helps with the shopping list for the diet that you follow, right? Or maybe it's five simple meals that take less than 10 minutes to create while doing this diet, right?
Okay.
So you see what I'm saying? It's like, you're not just gonna be like, here's the lead magnet, here's the diet. Yes, that's good, but that diet already exists out there. People can go necessarily, I mean, they can find your stuff and find other people's stuff, but if it's not your diet, right? Insanity isn't my program, but I can talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So I could say like, 5 meals, 5 meals used, while doing Insanity, right? So someone comes to your site, they've searched for the diet or the program Insanity. They come there, they see that thing pop up and they're like, I want that because I'm interested in Insanity, right?
Yeah.
So it's just one little nugget that will help them in what they're trying to do,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So was this helpful?
Yeah, beyond helpful. Yeah.
Awesome.
It was really great because I had a lot of confusion as to what I was even going to do with this. And a part of me was even thinking it seems so overwhelming because as you know, the fitness industry is so big.
Mm-hmm.
I was even thinking, should I just continue this or should I just stop this completely? Because I wasn't sure if I could do it. But now that I have some clarity, thanks to yourself, I know how to get my foot in the door now. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no problem at all. And like I said, I think you've got a lot of the work done. And I think the biggest thing is just, committing in here, right? You're committing to yourself to do it. And then now it's a matter of getting it started and getting it done. I mean, you're already started. You've already got your domain, your logo, your website's up, your WordPress is installed. You're like ready to start publishing content. So really you're going to move into the content research, stage and then start publishing. So really the steps for you are pretty clear for the next, 4 to 6 weeks. And then from there, a lot of it's going to be then looking at, what you've done, what you've learned, and then what are you going to do for the next? So it's just a lot of that. But I think you definitely can do it. And I think the answer that you needed for yourself was, is this worth doing it in this giant industry, right? In this giant market? It is and the big thing was that you kind of clarified for me was that this is somewhat of a mission for you. And this is something that's changed your life. So you want to do this because you would enjoy waking up and helping people on a regular basis and doing something that would give back and help people feel like you do now. Right.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's the big one, right? You're going to show now, if this was just a product thing and you're like, I don't know, it's going to be kind of a struggle. I'm not really into it. Then I would probably say, let's just move on.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. No, that's true. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Cool, man. Well, hey, I look forward to hearing back from you. So we're going to have to do a little check-in and see how you're doing. So a little accountability here. We're going to go ahead and have to, definitely get you back and do a little bit of an update. But yeah, man, I think you can definitely do it. It's going to take some work. I think you're okay with that. And just being consistent. And I think that you'll do great. So anything else you needed to add or you wanted to say, or are we ready to rock and roll out of here?
No, just to show my gratitude for the help that you've given me. And, my mission may be through a different way, but obviously is to help people. And I see you do that as well. So from myself and everybody who you do help, big thanks because it helps massively. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome, man. Well, hey man, I appreciate you. Thank you. And we'll be in touch.
Definitely.
All right. Well, there you have it. Again, another great conversation. I love doing these, by the way. Like I usually say they're going to go for like 30 minutes and they end up going for an hour because we just keep digging in and we keep exploring. And the idea here is to get clarity and really a path to least resistance. And if you listened all the way through on that, you kind of heard how it started and then how it ended up, and then how I had him come back to me and tell me what his next steps were. And he did it very, very, very well. All right. So again, this is something that I think everyone should do, and that is ask themselves these questions as I asked Akbar, and really just get clear on who you're serving. And then also do not try to do too much in the beginning. Start small, but every single day you're taking one small step to reach that goal. And also, the last thing I want to leave you with is evergreen assets. That's something I cannot stress enough. And I really tried to drive my point home and just really let him know that, you know, all of these other shiny objects, the Instagram, the TikToks, all of these things, those are amplification to me. I want evergreen. If you're going to put the time in, why not put it into something that can live on for a very, very long time? All right. So just again, something else to think about. And oh, wait, one last thing. If you're interested in joining us inside of Brand Creators Academy, if you want support, if you want mentorship, if you want technically a mastermind of people helping you, brand builders, then I would definitely encourage you to head on over to brandcreatorsacademy.com. You'll go there, you'll hear what some of the other members had to say or have to say, and then also what we offer inside the Academy. And if you're interested, just fill out that quick little survey. It's really quick, and it just gives us a little bit more of where you're at, where you want to go, and if it's the right fit for you right now. So if you're interested, head on over to brandcreatorsacademy.com. You can get all the information over there, and I'd love to see you on the inside and help you build your brand in 2021. So guys, that's it. That's going to wrap it up. As always, remember, I'm here for you. I believe in you, and I am rooting for you. But you have to, come on, say it with me, say it loud, say it proud, take action. Have an awesome, amazing day, and I'll see you right back here on the next episode.